Now that's sort of difficult. You're going to be playing your melody line on the second string, on the B string. And on top of that, adding that bass. Oh, and that really deep low bass note. See, boom. And then into that riff. Now what Fred does that's fascinating, he has his bass going. Now watch my right hand, and I'm going to try to leave out some of those boom chicks. Get it? Try that one more time for you. Got it. So that's something to try, and it's something that would be very difficult for me to write out exactly when you should stop that boom of the boom chick. Just try playing that, and when you feel confident in your alternating bass, just leave out. And this goes back to my philosophy of playing music, that you're going to have to listen with your ears. Your ears will tell you when it's right to leave out some of those bass notes, to build up a certain rhythmic feel, a certain atmospheric blues feel that we want to get. So that was Good Morning Little Schoolgirl. Let me just talk a little bit more about Fred McDowell, because his playing was, to me, fascinating. I knew him. I played with Fred for quite a bit. He had a lovely way of playing arrangements for tunes where we get a raunchy bass lick. Here's one, for instance. Now, usually with the bottleneck, you would have a riff, or you would have the bottleneck playing the melodic line that you're singing. But here there's a rhythmic lick. And over this, Fred would sing. Now, I'm not a singer, but let me try. Me and my white dog mama, yeah, we go down to old Jackson's farm. Pretty funky stuff. Me and my white dog mama, yeah, we go down to old Jackson's farm. Yeah, now it takes a man's appetite. Takes a man's appetite just to hear his white dog squall. Back to that riff. Very interesting. Then when he would play his break, he might just do something like this. And then back to that riff. To me, quite a funky way of using the bottleneck, and one that's, I think, is very, very interesting. Again, if you're interested in this, follow through by listening to some Fred McDowell records, and as I already mentioned, there's a terrific CD on Ahuli Records, over 60 minutes of great arrangements, great singing, great blues by Fred McDowell. Now here's a story for you that was sort of a funny one to end up with. I studied with Reverend Gary Davis for years and years, and Reverend Davis was not known as a bottleneck guitar player, even though, as one of his great influences was Blind Willie Johnson. But I went up to his house and I said, "Oh, Reverend Davis, listen to this Buck of White." It was a Buck of White record I brought up there. "Isn't it fantastic?" He said, "What are you talking about? He's playing with a bottleneck. He's cheating. Playing with a bottleneck is cheating." I said, "Cheating? What are you talking about cheating? Let me see you cheat." So, as Reverend Davis was so capable of doing, always staying, he would say, say 3 steps in front of his students. He would actually be about 3 miles in front of his students. He asked Annie, his wife, said, would you bring over one of the containers for my White Owl cigars? And these were about 6-inch containers that held these cigars. They were made out of aluminum. And she brought it over, and he started an open D tuning, just like I'm in, telling a story about a boy who was traveling through the South, and he was lost and a long way from home. And then he walked into a saloon, opened up the doors, and there was a hunky-tonk piano player playing piano. And then all of a sudden, Reverend Davis put that slide on top of his guitar and started to play the Whistling Blues. Now, he started off in this open D tuning, but when he got to playing that Whistling Blues, as he was reciting his story, somehow he was retuning the guitar. And he got into this tuning. So that his high E string is now all the way down. It's playing a B. And then when the boy was going to listen to that piano player, listen to what he hears. And the technique, as far as we're concerned, is very similar to Wake Up Mama. You're just going to be playing bar chords. But by being in this unusual tuning, you get this unusual effect. Well, I sure wish Reverend Davis would have cheated some more, but that was the only Bottleneck tune I ever heard him play. Terrific tune called Whistling Blues. Now, this is a very strange tuning. And usually, when I was transcribing tunes before most of these bluesmen were rediscovered, I presumed everything was in this open G, Spanish, or open D vestiple tuning. For sure, Bucka White was playing in the open E tuning, vestiple tuning, but then he was rediscovered, and guess what? He wasn't. He was playing in what's called a cross note tuning. In that, the guitar is tuned to a minor. So instead of being, for instance, an E chord, it's tuned to an E minor chord. Or instead of being a D chord, it's tuned to a D minor. So with our tuning, let me get this high string back up. And notice the way I'm doing it. I'm always hitting the 4th string as my guide. So Bucka has his 3rd string down another half a fret. See if we can get it there. There we are. This is a tuning that Skip James used, and it made sense because Skip James tunes like Devil Got My Woman, Cypress Grove Blues, terrific country blues tunes, they sound as if they're in a modal tuning, and it makes sense that he's playing in this cross note. But for Bucka White, it makes no sense at all because he's playing in the major. And in fact, let's listen to Bucka do some blues, some Bottleneck blues, and catch his positions, his left-hand positions. They're pretty simple, but the trick is to know what tuning he's in, and that will make sense of what he's playing. So here's Bucka White playing some blues.
walk down through the gypsum town. Oh, man, it is nice. I used to walk down through the gypsum town. Well, when I didn't see me so to me, we were pulling up and cigarette down on the ground.
One of my all-time favorites was Son House. In the 1920s, he recorded a tune called Preaching Blues, and try to hear this on a reissue record. It's full of scratches, but underneath those scratches is a powerful vocal performance, and the guitar arrangement is fascinating. In the 60s, Son recorded this again. He doesn't have the preciseness of his Bottleneck playing, but you get an idea of what was once there. So let's listen to Son House playing Preaching Blues.
And still, I never did forget this. I said, well, I'll make a piece about preaching the blues. Join the Baptist Church. Yeah, give me religion. I said I'm going to join the Baptist Church. I thought I want to be a Baptist preacher, so I wouldn't have to worry. Looked around and he began to grin. Oh, one day looked around and he began to grin. Again. You know, one sister jumped up and she began to shout. Yeah, one sister jumped up and she began to shout. You know one thing I ever do? I'll be glad when this old corn liquor's gone.